I want people coming here to experience that part of our community. And we can't like mess it up, and we can't like take it for granted. It's the largest single day race in North America. Like, it's awesome. And like doing nothing is easy. And so all the work, a lot of work comes between like not doing shit and doing something awesome. But then to take something awesome and make it fucking awesome. I mean, it only takes like all the hard work's done. It's already awesome. And something like the Make It Stick jump this year made it fucking awesome. And next year, hopefully, it'll be somebody else with some other idea, because that's what's going to make more people want to keep coming back.
From KOM Cycling and Michigan Midpack Media, welcome to the Dirty Chain Podcast, the podcast that covers the cycling scene from the viewpoint of the Michigan Midpack. I am your host, Trevor, and another year, another Iceman, another pretty awesome Iceman, thanks to Tim Pulliam and his crew that were responsible for building, organizing, and executing the epic jump that went over the racers at the Make It Stick climb during the race itself. Now, over the past several years, we've been able to cover the Iceman Cometh Challenge, the famous point-to-point mountain bike race in northern Michigan, from a few different perspectives, from beginner way back when I was experiencing it for the first time, to being able to interview pros and past winners. This year, going into the event, I was definitely stoked for the race, the expo, the party, but I wasn't quite sure what direction a post-Iceman episode might take for 2024. Now, this year's event brought with it perfect weather, nice man conditions, ripping fast for the amateurs and the pros, and as always, the best cycling celebration and party of the year. But after the racing and the partying, and as the hangover was slowly wearing off the next day, it dawned on me, it was actually completely obvious, that the best Iceman story and the most unique element of this year's event was the epic jump over the racers on the Make It Stick climb. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just stop listening. Look up Dirt Church Traverse City on Instagram and check out some of their latest posts and videos. And we get all into the details of this jump on the interview, of course. I got to talk with Tim Pulliam and not only hear about the inspiration and the details of the jump, but also get to hear a cool perspective of a local Traverse City guy who loves his community and works hard to make it better and more badass. And I think you'll agree with me that his passion is pretty damn infectious. So let's get right to it. Let's hear about the coolest, most badass element of the Iceman Cometh Challenge 2024, the epic jump over the Make It Stick climb with Tim Pulliam. I've usually done an Iceman episode every year, and I don't know. I struggle sometimes with thinking about unique stories or a unique direction to take it. As much as like people want to hear from the pros or the winners or unique stories here and there, maybe I myself get a little tired of that. It seems like the same thing. But it dawned on me yesterday that the coolest thing about Iceman was like not even really part of the race itself. It was just the things happening around the race, which had to do with that make it stick ramp. And then I was like, who the heck came up with this? I follow Dirt Church on Instagram and I see all those posts. So I messaged Ed Rogers and I was like, Ed, who is the mastermind behind this crazy idea? He got me in touch with you. Here we are. I want to hear all about it. Tim, first of all, though, tell me a little bit about yourself. I don't really know you. Are you local to TC? Are you from TC? You're obviously very connected in the biking scene up there, the cycling scene. Yeah. Introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so I've been in Traverse City like 30 years.
Okay.
And I moved here because of the cycling and snowboarding scene. I was just shortly out of high school, had a year of college under my belt, was thinking of moving out west, but Traverse City seemed pretty cool. We had like the Vasa single track, the marked single track. I mean, that was 30 years ago. We had like marked single track. It was maybe some of the first in the state. I was like, oh, that's cool. We have single track. And we had a Mount Holiday. They had a snowboard half pipe. I mean, for the Midwest, we had a 30 years ago to have like real official mountain bike single track and like a half pipe at a ski resort that allowed snowboarding. I was like, man, that's the place I got to go. And so I've been here ever since. So I've been here 30 years now, and definitely in the bike scene. I love the community. We have just a ton of avid outdoors people in general. I mean, at any given point in time, you can send out a text and have a pretty good sized handful of people ready to road bike or mountain bike or paddle or ski. I mean, really just anything that you want to do that involves outside and adventure. We're surrounded by it. And so it's pretty sweet to be part of that. Happy to be here, sharing that with my family and all my friends every day. It's awesome.
For sure. I mean, I always, of course, like Iceman and, like, I don't know, like Mud, Sweat, and Beard, like these races that bring in a lot of outsiders, and the infrastructure is great for riding. But what really impresses me with the area is, I mean, just following on Strava or Instagram is like how many locals are so involved, just constantly involved in group rides or trail work or just the community advocacy for infrastructure, cycling infrastructure. I mean, it's just it seems like there's just a lot of positive things happening, not only in Traverse City but kind of the surrounding area up there. So it totally makes sense why that would attract yourself. It was kind of interesting. I was kind of listening to this on backwards because Iceman just happened, but there was the Iceman podcast that had Tom White on, and he not only talked about the course, which would have been great for me to listen to before, but I didn't. But it was kind of cool to listen to it now, after racing it. But the amount of history that he talked about, not only about Iceman itself, but about, like you said, that Traverse City had one of the first areas with a bunch of marked single track, and I had no idea about that history. So pretty interesting stuff that I don't think a lot of people understand as they sign up for Iceman. If they're new to Iceman, I mean, I consider myself new to Iceman. This is my fifth one, but I knew it had a rich history, but I didn't think I knew it was that rich.
Oh, it's true though. I moved here when I was 20, so 30 years ago, but I started coming here, at 15 or 16 to explore the single track over here. Was some of the first place where some of the old enduro stuff had started to get transitioned into like more bike specific trail. It was better than riding deer paths. That I was aware of, at least at that time. There was really no place else if you wanted to go and do some mountain biking that long ago. And Traverse City, definitely around Michigan, it was one of the first spots. Even then, it had obviously a much smaller community, but there was a very active community, even, in the late 80s and early 90s already. So it was pretty awesome, really. It is a history.
And it's incredible to see what that's become. I'm continually blown away by, every time Iceman rolls around, it's just like you head up there and part of me, I was trying to explain it to some of my friends. It's like it's the end of the season, and it's almost like I'm like winding myself down a little bit. Like, okay, well, the season's over, last race. You're putting it all behind you, and yeah, I'm just gonna go do this one more thing, and then the season's over, and you go up, and it's like you're just pumped again for it all. Like you want to just do it all over again. It's pretty incredible how that
it's
how that all
bicycle
works.
Christmas.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what it feels like. It really does feel like a holiday. And, and we do use it for this to some extent, but I really hope that we can continue to build on using it for attracting people to our community, the type of people that we want to continue to build our community with, because, we're definitely a tourist destination, but we have way more people who come here to sit on the beach or to go to our breweries or to go to our wineries. And I mean, we do get some cyclists, but I don't feel like, and I don't want to sound offensive to all the hard work that our local, all of the great community organizations we have, and Iceman and NBA. I mean, they're doing a great job, but I don't really consider us like, other than like Iceman, I don't consider us a cycling destination yet, really. And that's the sort of thing that I want to attract people here for. I want to build our community on people that enjoy the types of things that I enjoy and want to protect the types of things that I hope to protect, and expand the types of recreation opportunities that I enjoy. I think that, they're building blocks of health community. And so Iceman is an opportunity where we do get a kind of a larger stage to showcase that, because it's not just local people, and it's not just super serious racer types. I mean, some of these people, this might be the one outdoor thing they do a year with some buddies. And I mean, they're not avid cyclists or super fit. And so it's a chance like for us to really show those people, hopefully inspire them, like, this is what we're all about up here. And we're supportive and we're kind and we're pushing for these sorts of things. And like, so that we attract more of those sorts of people to come here and start lives here and move businesses here and things like that, like show them the power of that community. It's like, this is our chance. We get all these people here. Let's like show them what it's all about.
Yeah, it's cool to hear from a local's perspective about that. I'm sure you experience Iceman, or everyone that's from Traverse City definitely experiences Iceman differently than say someone like me who comes in from downstate and just like, gets an Airbnb and does their thing and then leaves. Two different experiences, but still like unique, but still very important, I think. Yeah, that's really cool to hear. And I think that is, I mean, you mentioned like sometimes it's the one time that probably for the majority of the riders of Iceman, they're not wave 10-1, and they're not the pros. The majority of it are people that come in and want to have this one unique bike experience that they probably won't have again all year, or they haven't had all year. And that's the beauty of Iceman, that it maybe caters is not the right word, but it kind of caters to being able to support a wide range of people, from people that want to rip it wave one to people that want to take 4 hours to do it, Right. It's such a cool experience to be a part of and to see, and to know how much like infrastructure and detail it takes to put on something like that, to be able to funnel 4,000 riders on a point-to-point course through single track, through roads, through all, like there's a lot going on there for sure. And it's pretty impressive.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, a whole city is built out at Timber Ridge,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's unbelievable.
And then you have some people that maybe they ride those trails constantly. Maybe they're their backyard. Maybe they're a local person, but they're not racing. They're there to support the race in their own unique way. and maybe they decide to build a ramp over racers and just to watch people huck it over, over the course. And that's where you come in.
Yeah, yeah, that's where we came in this year.
So
Didn't know
tell me,
exactly how that was going to go.
you gotta like, let's back up then and tell me where that, I mean, do you typically race Iceman? I mean, I'm assuming you've raced Iceman. Like, what's
Yeah,
your, and was it just like, I'm not going to do it this year, or you're not that, are you like more of a supportive role every year and try to set up like a cheering area? What's been your capacity? I'm assuming in a volunteer sense, like in the past.
yeah. I mean, I've done the race on and off. I mean, I love just going out and ripping single track, but Iceman kind of gives you a fever, especially when you're local. I mean, everyone in Traverse City even has like an Iceman bike. We're moved away from that a little bit, thank God, because like, you know, uh, full suspensions
Yeah.
have just gotten so light and efficient, and everyone has a dropper post now. But
I don't
for
I don't I don't
years,
mean to I don't mean to interrupt, but it's kind of like, and it is moving away from this, but if you race in Michigan, almost everyone has an Iceman bike. It's not just
yeah,
Traverse City.
it
Like,
is. And in a way, like that made me sad because I love other sorts of riding, but like you had to have like, and you don't anymore. A ton of people aren't on that sort of bike anymore, but like you had to have a full rigid. Basically, it was like a road bike with knobby tires. People were running 16 and 17 pound full rigid bikes, and that's what we all had to do because that's what everyone else did. And I remember I was thinking like, man, wouldn't it be sweet if somebody would run a little bigger tire, or if they'd start running a fork, and slowly that's happened
yeah.
because you didn't want to be the only guy on like a fully with a dropper, um, like at all the other group rides either. So everyone was stuck with this Iceman bike. I mean, that's how big a part of Iceman it is here for us locals. But um, yeah. So, anyways, I've raced and I had the Iceman bike, and I, you know, uh, tried to be competitive and get into like the coveted Wave One. That's kind of the Traverse City thing. If
Yeah.
you're not racing pro, get your way into Wave One, and I know we take a lot of pride in having the first person back to Timber be someone from Traverse City. I think, I don't know the exact stat off the top of my head, but in the past 10 years, I think it's happened like 8 times,
Did it
that
did it happen this year?
it happened this year, Alex
Alex?
Primo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's
I
great
think he had some
because
inside knowledge, man. That's that.
I told Alex and I told Alexi the same thing. I told both those guys and Kyan too. Um, I was like, listen, man, there's going to be one chance to get the money shot in the morning, and there's going to be one chance to get it in the pro wave. And no matter what happens, you got to be on the front and make it stick. And the word had already spread, rumors and whispers of this jump out there. People do out and backs. I mean, when I was first out there with some friends, and we basically built the whole thing in 2 days because we don't want to spend a ton of time. One, we didn't have any permission.
I have written on one of the things I wrote was permission. I want to know about that, but yeah.
Yeah. So, and I won't veer off too far either because I'm excited to tell you about the jump and the inspiration for it. But the permission part, like I kind of have had a movement around here, and it's kind of at the core of Dirt Church and our crew and things I've been involved with since I first moved to the community 30 years ago with, the bootleg trails at the Commons. I don't know how many times over the years I've been shut down, or now that I'm known a little bit better around the community, like called like, hey, Tim, like we see these new road trails going in. Like, I'm sure you know something about it. Like you got to cut that out, I mean, that's been happening now for at least a decade. And so, but I kind of consider the movement like permissionless. Like it's as one of my friends says about some of these things that I do, it's like it's the fine line between bad idea and badass. And when you set off with these ideas, this permissionless concept is that like, there's only a few qualifiers. Like I got to believe it's going to end up being something that people are stoked about, and hopefully no one's going to get hurt too bad because of it. Those are like kind of the two things. And a lot of these road trails and a lot of these secret little connectors or the unorganized kind of unofficial race events. I mean, the last time the bay froze, we groomed a course across the bay around Power Island, and then we snuck like the single track groomer out there and we groomed all the sweet single track on Power Island. And like we didn't tell anybody, we just did it all and got it completely dialed. And then we like posted a ride, and like 100 people showed up. Man, we had this giant race around the island, and people were like, "How'd you get permission to like groom the island? Like snowmobiles aren't allowed out there." It's like, well, I don't know. Like, did we really need permission to do something that everyone had so much fun on? We didn't hurt anything. And I knew there was no way that anybody was giving me permission to build a jump over the Iceman. But as long as like no one died and people were stoked about it in the end, like I probably wouldn't even get in trouble for it, And
it's all state land, right?
It's all state land. Yeah. And that's kind of, one or two people were kind of like, oh, well, I don't know if you should be doing that. I'm like, I don't know. Like out at the end of White Meat, which is like one of our unmarked. And that's the other funny thing is, and I love our unmarked, but the people who would tell me that I shouldn't do it, like all of our legal trails now all started as illegal trails. So it's like, I mean, I know that you probably got to say you shouldn't build a jump over the course and please don't hit it when people are riding by. I mean, I understand why they would have to say that, but, we had to do it. I mean, we've thought about it since like 2006, I think, Dangerous Dave from Vancouver. It was like one of the New World Disorder mountain bike movies. He like jumped the Tour de France, and he did it kind of the way we jumped the Iceman, and now it happens all the time. Like it's staged and engineers come in and Red Bull comes and they have it just where it should be. And they kind of look like they're jumping it, but they don't really. And don't get me wrong. I mean, it's still cool, but it's just not the same as like we snuck out there and built a giant jump and then sent it all day over thousands of people as they went by. And will we do it again next year? I mean, I don't know. I mean, probably not. It had to be done, and it was done. And it turned out awesome. We only had one dislocated shoulder, and it was actually during practice a couple of days before.
I saw that video of someone. I thought they broke their collarbone, but just dislocated a shoulder.
Yeah, they just it just got separated, as he says. They're separated, but they're going to get back together soon. Everyone's going to be okay.
It's not a permanent separate. It's not a divorce necessarily.
Oh no, they're working things out.
They're working things through.
Yeah.
Oh man. So back to permission though. Before we get away from that, like, was there any conversation with the race itself, or was that also something that you just didn't want to touch?
No. I mean, we've been having to make it stick party. This was our 10th anniversary, which I didn't really realize when we decided to build a jump over it. I have a company called King Technical Solutions, and we do some riding and racing, and we kind of promote events, but not like we're not event promoters. I don't want it to sound like that. Like none of our events are really like licensed or legal, but we promote events to get people together. It really started to get our staff together. It was a way to like network with our team and with our vendors and even with our customers. And so we just started we started with Iceman because it's big and it's exciting for people who don't necessarily like love cycling the way we do. And we'd sponsor Iceman and we'd get a bunch of entries, and then we'd give them to people and we would make them come do the race. And some of these people, maybe they haven't ridden a bike since high school. We'd be like, don't worry, you got a lot of time, but you're coming in November. And so we'd make everybody on our team do it. And then we'd make vendors that we use a lot, like, a lot of vendors are like, oh, let me take you golfing or let's go out to dinner, trying to win your business. For us, it's like, no, if you want to win our business, then you got to come experience things that find us joy, And so I'm not going to the golf course with you. I don't need a fancy dinner. Better yet, start riding your bike because you're coming up to Traverse City in November and you're going to do Iceman with us. And that's how and it's the same with our customers. Like we didn't want to do work for people that we couldn't talk into doing crazy stuff like this. And so we tell a customer, we'd be like, hey, you ever ride a bike? Oh yeah. Like 10 years ago, and say, well, listen, you're in, man. We got you signed up for Iceman. We're going to tell you how to train for it. A lot of times we'd go see Molly, man, over at Brick Wheels back in the day, and we'd borrow like demo bikes. We'd be like, oh, we need, and we'd get a ton of bikes for Iceman, and we'd put people on them. And that's how Make It Stick was born. Is we'd get all these people that never rode before doing the race, and then we'd need people out there like encouraging them. And that's kind of an important spot to encourage people, especially people that maybe haven't experienced the race before. I mean, it's kind of the first tough climb. I mean, the front wave guys and the pro wave hardly even considered a climb. But, for people who don't do this kind of stuff every day, that's first spot touch point for us to give them some encouragement. And so started throwing a little party out there. We'd have a fire and a tent. It wasn't a real aid station or anything. We didn't have permission. We didn't really need it. We were just kind of set up. But over the past 10 years, it's really grown. And I mean, it's a pretty sweet scene now, and it's really in the middle of nowhere. And I remember Eli Brown, he was the first person to set it up, and I was doing the race that year, and we had a bunch of customers and vendors in, and our whole team was doing it. And he set the drums up out there, and he had our Keen tent out there. And you've ridden your bike by Make It Stick, but you've probably never driven there, right?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like one of the more difficult places on the course to get. It's near the beginning. It's nowhere near the finish. Like, it's hard to get people to think I'm going to drive all the way to Make It Stick for any reason. And so those first couple of years.
Is there even a way to drive into it? I mean, the only way I've got to is on a bike. So I don't know.
I mean, there's not like an easy way to drive into it, but there is a way to get into it. And I remember the first couple of years, that's the spot he decided to set up. And I mean, I thought it was sweet, but in my mind, I was kind of like, man, what about Anita's Hill? Or what about, there's so many places so much closer to the finish where you probably could get more people to come. But then I kind of realized that we didn't want to create the kind of scene that the people who thought they'd come because it's easy to get there, that wasn't really our audience. We were looking for the sort of people that were looking for the spots that weren't easy to get to. And so we had to create something there that drew those people there. And so every year the party and the entertainment and the food and the beer, everything just had to keep kind of getting bigger and better. And it started to create this gravity. And I mean, I was just blown away. I thought I was getting there early Saturday morning this year. And I pulled in there just before 9:00. And it's not super easy to get to. And the 2-track was just filled with cars. And I'm like, wow, how are there so many people here already? People have found it now, and people definitely will go there. And this idea that I was thinking, how can I make it easier for people to get here, was the wrong way to look at it. It's how can I make it epic enough that it doesn't matter how hard it is to find or how, your odds of getting stuck down some sandy 2-track are, it's going to be worth it.
How can we create something that will bring the people? No matter where.
Right. We don't need to just come someplace because it's easy for people to get to, or we won't end up having to be awesome. And
I think every year it's a super encouraging, but also it's just it definitely pumps you up every time you go by Make It Stick or another hill that people are cheering on. But having that, what mile is Make It Stick? Is it
10?
Yeah, it's super early. I mean, so you expect some of that stuff. I mean, by the time you get to wood chip or icebreaker, it's it's basically over. I mean, you got to push a little bit more, but getting that at mile 10, it's super cool. A little early for beer for me. I probably wouldn't stop and have a beer at that point, but
Alex told me, man, he's I knew I wanted to attack at Make It Stick, and the energy that was there when I came through, and I went, and he had 30 seconds on the chase crew by the time he got to the top of Make It Stick and was going into the single track. and they were like neck and neck at the jump. He was on the front, he was making his move, and that's the kind of energy there is. And you think like, well, for a wave one guy who ends up being first back to timber, like, you know, does that really change his race? But I'll tell you what, for a wave 20 or a wave 30 or a wave 40 person, sometimes I feel like we're saving their lives. I mean, they get to the top of that, they're pushing up the hill, they look like they're going to die. And they always ask, they don't always, but a lot of times I ask the same question. It's like, how much further? And you're like, dude, like 20 more miles, man. But it's okay. Sit down, have some bacon. We got cookies, beer. Like, just relax, man. You got this. And it's so much fun. And it's a great thing. And I think that those are the people we're out there for now, really. And I was surprised how many people rode by both the earlier waves and the people who were dying on the way up the hill, but their heads down. And there were a ton of people that got jumped over that I don't think even realized it.
Well, that was a question we had. I mean, when we watched that video of the pros going through, and I'm assuming maybe there was some conversation between them, but it almost was like they were warned that it might happen because not a single one even flinches or is like, whoa. I mean, they are just in the zone, ripping up, make it stick. And so we were like, did the race tell them on the starting line that they might be jumped over or something? Like, what's going on here? But it sure doesn't sound like that happened. I mean, like you warned Alexi. I feel like, Kyan knew. I'm sure like maybe Jordan was aware.
Yeah, well, I mean, people were seeing the clues on the Instagram, the Dirt Church Instagram. Yeah. I mean, I had a picture of the jump over the Tour de France as a post a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So I don't know if people knew we were, locals especially, knew we were building the jump out there. I don't know if they really thought we were going to be like crazy enough to actually do it while the race was going on. And, someone else asked, like, how did no one like call you out and just like come tear it down? And I mean, the only thing I could think like is just we've been doing stuff that's like kind of dumb for like a long time now, but we have kind of established this history of it like turning out okay usually. And I don't think it's luck. I think it's just the positive energy community. Like even with this, like, I mean, very seasoned folks that have probably never honestly even been to Iceman, but they're people from our community. A lot of them are friends of mine, younger people, a lot of them. They are senders, man. That's what they do. They ride downhill and they dirt jump and they never come to Iceman. But they heard about this and they're like, we want to be there, And so like, and that was important because like we needed people who really knew what they were doing to be able to session a jump literally throughout the day. That jump was hit hundreds of times and not one crash.
That's amazing.
And I know accidents can happen and things can happen, but we had the right people. We got the ramp built. We did some testing. There were adjustments made. And so even though like it seems dumb, we weren't stupid about it, so, and it turned out and the community ended up loving it. And I still haven't gotten any trouble and, everything will be removed from the forest and you'll never even know what happened.
I was wondering if it's still set up right now or if you tore it down already.
Well, it actually is still set up right now. Okay. We got the site completely clean and the landing pretty much down, but we do need to go get the rest of the pieces.
Was it built with pallets? It looked like it was built with pallets or something.
Yeah, so it was built with pallets because it seemed like it had to have a little bit of sketchiness to it. A lot of the stuff we do, it has a little sketchiness to it. And some people would think like maybe the sketchy makes things more dangerous. But what it does is it eliminates the people who like are on the fence on if they should do something like this or not. Like the people are like, no, I know I can do this. Oh, it's kind of sketchy. Yeah, I still got this. Like there's a high probability that those people are going to be okay. But if it was built perfect, like you've been to Bentonville probably, I
Sure.
assume. Like
Yeah.
that stuff is just all built so nice that you think you can hit anything. Like this was pretty big. And if we built it so it looked like anybody could hit it, then it probably wouldn't have had the same outcome. Like there'd have been probably more ER trips.
Yeah.
But it was, just sketchy enough, and the pallets help with that. It was a rickety run in with scrap wood from my wood shop with some pallets at the end. And, and our buddies at Bodemer Brothers Carpet, man, they donated like 60 foot of carpet for the run out,
for the landing.
Yeah.
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 I was
It was
you,
awesome.
you mentioned the having to have the right people, and that was a question I had. It's like, where'd you find these dudes? It looked like, what'd you have, like four consistent
Yeah, I
jumpers or
think
riders?
we had six that were hitting it a lot. And
Uh-huh.
the great thing about those sixes, two of them were kids. One was my son, Parker, and another one
Nice.
is a good friend of mine, his son, Leland. And actually Levi, Leland's dad, he was hitting it too. So he was probably the oldest person hitting it. And his son Leland was probably the youngest person hitting it. I think Leland's maybe 14, my kid's 15.
Oh, nice.
So and then we just had some other local younger shredders and freestylers, and yeah, I mean they were comfortable hitting it over and over and over and over again. They were training it. I mean, yeah, it was pretty amazing, and it's a decent size drop. It's also a pretty long gap, but everybody was smooth landing, smooth sailing.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, even though, like you said, it was like borderline sketchy. I mean, the way everyone was hitting it, it seemed like it was no big deal. So the riders, they seemed like they were in total control. It was just, yeah, super cool to watch. Who had the cape on? That was always a cool, like, it's like the caboose of the train every single time was the dude with the cape.
Oh yeah. I think it might have been Branson with the cape. It was, I mean, it was awesome to have somebody like in full costume too. And I kept thinking every time, like, is the cape going to fly off and like cover someone's face on the way up the hill, like on some sort of comedy show? But no, it was pulled off pretty well. I was standing on top of the jump like a week ago, and somebody's like, well, how do you know like you got the height right for the distance?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I rolled a basketball off the end of it, because that's what I did. But I don't think that made him feel super confident with the math behind it.
I don't
But
know. Is that a traditional thing? Like that wouldn't make me feel pretty confident either, because I don't know either. But is that
yeah,
what
no,
people
I mean
do?
it does. Yeah, that's a trick for sure.
Okay.
We can kind of see the trajectory before it's like a person. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, I'm sure sometimes the pictures were hard to tell. Like you saw the picture and you're like, would you actually, uh, could you send it over the person? Is it high enough? Is it going to
Oh
actually like clear?
yeah.
But then
They
I
were.
saw some of them where like a guy was like with his arms up and, sent over. So it didn't look like there was any chance that, if jumped correctly, you would hit anyone.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, the only way that could happen, and we were actually, I mean, the thing we were concerned most with was, if it was wet, because if you crashed going off the end of it,
Mm,
then you conceivably could hit somebody.
yeah.
But as long as you rolled off, you might
You
crash,
But
but
it would
you
just
would,
be far away from people.
yeah. So we definitely made sure it was tall enough that we knew we were going to be clearing people, and we had quite a bit of testing. Well,
so so you were jumping out there like what it had to be 9:45 to 3 o'clock or 3:30,
yeah,
like I
yeah.
mean just constant
From
jumping.
9 a.m. because everyone wanted to get warmed up. Well,
Okay.
when we got there, the entire wood structure was covered with frost.
Oh right, yeah, because it was frosty. You're like, geez.
And so you couldn't really get any speed checks. You couldn't like do any run-ins because you couldn't hit your brakes to stop before you went off the end. So as soon as we could get all the frost scraped off, people wanted to get a few practice hits in before like people were coming. So by the time we got the frost scraped off, people had just enough time to each hit it 4 or 5 times, get everyone had their speed comfortable, and then we were ready for the wave one lead out. And that was another thing is, like in some of the videos, you might see like this pizza box. It's like halfway down the hill, it's standing up like a little teepee. Well, the pizza box was a spot, when I was standing across from the jump, I'd give the signal to the lead guy in the train, like it's time to go, because I could judge like from the time someone hit that pizza box to the time someone could get from the beginning to the end of the sketchy wooden roll in, they'd be under the train.
That's amazing.
And we didn't get that right every time, but we got it pretty good with wave one. But and maybe the most important video we got was, we absolutely nailed it with the pros. The timing of the pros coming through and the train. It looked like we were some sort of Hollywood production crew.
It was amazing. Was it Alexi going up
It was,
first? Yeah,
so he right on his wheel, and then Terry was in there, and then Wakely was there.
Yep.
I saw some of those guys that later that night, and everybody loved it. Nobody was like, "Oh, I can't believe you did that."
Of course not. And it's like one of those things where I think when I went under it, there's probably taking a break or something. There's so many people in the waves, but I'm sure for you, it was like really special to witness it while the riders were going through. But like on the other side, for me, doing the race and then now looking back and seeing what was happening through the whole thing, it's like, wow, man, it's so cool. And to like seeing some of the pictures, was it it wasn't Rob out there, like Ryan Stevens or who was taking those.
Yeah.
Some of those photos were like incredible. There's some of them he took were like perfect. The timing was wild.
It really was. And I was just looking at some of those this morning. Yeah, amazing. Blew me away.
And then the video for sure to see some of that. But I don't know. And then like just on a bigger scale, even for outsiders thinking of like, what about this? What about the year made Iceman unique? It's like 2019. Well, it was the weather and it was a real shit show. And then like, then you had like the years that Alexi won, or like, there's different unique things for each year. And for me, it's gonna be the make it stick year for sure. That's gonna be what's like ingrained in my memory of like, yeah, that was the Iceman where they jumped over the pros and they jumped over everyone. It was the coolest thing.
Well, and I think it's important for Iceman because, like we were talking about at the beginning, it is such a showcase of our community, and it's stood the test of time. It's been around quite a long time now. It's kind of transitioned the past couple of years into some new management.
Yeah.
And so, because it's such a great opportunity for us to showcase our community, we're super fortunate. Like, I don't even know if we know us, like, and I'm sure some racers don't know, some people in the cycling community, but I know like people not in the cycling community probably don't realize like how lucky we are to have something that brings so many people to our area, to show them a side of it that, like, just from a sustainability standpoint, like, I want people coming here to experience that part of our community. And we can't like mess it up, and we can't like take it for granted. We can't let it go away, and we got to find ways. And this was our way this year, and everything worked out well. And I'm glad, but we got to push and inspire other people. Like, who else is going to step it up? And it doesn't just have to be about Iceman, but just in general. So like when we brought everyone in and made them do the race, like those people all experienced this community. They came from all over, and they were all blown away by it. They were all like, it's infectious, and so hopefully like other people find ways to keep it memorable, to keep people wanting to come back, to keep the race feeling as connected to the community as it did when Steve Brown started it 35 years ago or whatever, because it's the largest single day race in North America. Like, it's awesome. And like doing nothing is easy. And so all the work, a lot of work comes between like not doing shit and doing something awesome. But then to take something awesome and make it fucking awesome. I mean, it only takes like all the hard work's done. It's already awesome. And something like the Make It Stick jump this year made it fucking awesome. And next year, hopefully, it'll be somebody else with some other idea because that's what's going to make more people want to keep coming back.
Yeah, this is amazing. This is brilliant. You're so right. That was well said. And yeah, man. I mean, just as a participant, thank you so much for making Iceman fucking awesome this year.
No problem, man. Anytime.
And I got to get up and do some dirt church rides. That's for sure.
You need to do the chicken leg 100. Put that on your calendar. I cannot believe you missed it.
What? Why was it on a Friday, man? We can't all take Fridays off of work wasn't it? Wasn't it on a...
Listen, I got to tell you something about, if we just have one more minute, I got to tell you this because I think this is super important too. Like, you ever go any place on a weekend where people are working?
Oh, of course.
Well, right. And every year, every race, every month, they're always on a Saturday or Sunday. And all those people who aren't working 9 to 5s like you and I, like, what do? They put the race on their calendar. It's important enough for them to want to do, and they request the day off. And so, you know, Chicken Leg Friday this year was on a Friday because it was Chicken Leg Friday. But I decided after that I'm going to just make it the date. It's going to be that date. And I don't care if that date's on a Tuesday. Like, we don't only have Christmas on the weekends because it's convenient. No, it's December 25th. Chicken Leg is going to be June 21st every single year. Now, you're lucky this year, 2025, June 21st is on a Saturday. But in 3 years, it's going to be on a Tuesday. And like, you've got a whole year. You can put it in your calendar. It's not, that's the date, and it's going to be worth it. That's
fair. That's totally fair. So that's your thing. Do you organize?
Yeah, that's chicken. I'm Chicken Leg.
You're Chicken Leg.
And me and my buddy Sunset, man, Dave Scott. Him and I invented Chicken Leg Friday because every Friday we used to do this ride, and sometimes if it's really bad, it would be like a backcountry ski. But it was almost always a ride. And then one day after the ride, we found this donut, and it's called a chicken leg. And you can only get them on Fridays at Potter's. And it was like the best donut we ever had. And so I'm like, man, we got to get some of these next Friday and take them to the guys, you know? And so we were getting ready to do our Friday ride. And that Friday, I called it the Chicken Leg Friday ride. And I pulled these things out, and they're donuts, but they look like chicken legs, but they're like deep fried in coconut. And, man, everybody just loved them. And after that, we started riding every Friday. And that was quite a few years ago. And we'd have this Chicken Leg Friday ride. And it's similar to what I said with you about the reason it's going to be on the same date every year. People said the same thing you see. They'd be like, oh, man, yeah, it must be nice every Friday at 10. Like, you just go out riding till lunch. And I'm like, well, why don't you come? And they'd be like, well, you know, they always look at their phone. I got something going on this Friday. And I'd be like, yeah, well, how do you know? And they'd be like, well, because it's on my calendar. I'd say, all right, well, what's on your calendar next Friday? And they'd look, and sometimes it would be empty. And I'd say, okay, we'll put Riding with Tim on there at 10 a.m. on Friday. And then nothing else will get booked then. Like, the calendar app is the most powerful tool we have in our lives. And we use it to make sure we do all of the shit that we have to do. Put some shit in there that you want to do. Put it in there. Once the 2 hours are blocked out, someone calls you, like, hey, we got to have a meeting at Friday at 10, and you do this. You go, I got something Friday at 10. It's in there, Chicken Leg Friday. You could come up this Friday, 10 a.m.
I might, man, actually. I should.
You should.
That's awesome. I actually probably could very easily just have done the chicken leg. I should have just done it.
You should have just done it. But you can do it next year.
I'll do it next year. Man, I'm looking forward to the time it's on a Tuesday. I could take Tuesday off. Now I'm pumped to do it.
See what I'm saying? Right.
All right, on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Tim, this was awesome. I didn't know that I mean, I wanted to hear the story about it, but I didn't know that I needed to meet you so much. I mean, like this is such a cool. It was like the ramp and the Iceman jump and all that was super cool, but then the cherry on top was that I just got to talk with you and meet you. So that was, super awesome.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well. I listen to the podcast all the time,
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, again, thank you for making Iceman just the best this year. And part of me hopes that it was a one and done kind of thing. It was just like a special one time. But if it happens again, I'm sure you'll find a way to make it unique for that next year for sure.
It would definitely have to be different, without a doubt. But who knows? I mean, it's funny with Chicken Leg. I knew right away after Chicken Leg 100 because that was going to be a one and done, and I knew the second it was over that it had to happen again. But with this, I don't feel like it has happened again at all. It was just so perfect that there might be something else that's more rad next year, but I don't think it can be the same thing.
Yeah, man, awesome. Well, thanks for telling the story, jumping on.
No problem.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Have a great day, man.
For Iceman participants everywhere, thank you, Tim.
Oh, you're all very welcome.
The Dirty Chain Podcast is a Michigan Midpack Media production in partnership with KOM Cycling, the source for your bike accessories and necessities. Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Dirty Chain Podcast. If you are enjoying the podcast, please leave us a rating and review on whatever platform you use to listen. Audio editing and original music by myself, Trevor Gibney. A huge thank you to Tim for joining me on this episode, and thank you all for listening to the Dirty Chain Podcast. And as always, keep your chain clean, but get your chain dirty. We will see you in the Midpack.